Today I'll explain why Node MCU has got many number of VCC pins and ground pins. So this is a Node MCU development board, and I'll show you where you have got VCC pins and ground pins. So the top two are a 3.3 and a ground pin, and here also you have ground and 3.3 pin, and here you have got 3.3 and a ground pins, and here you have got V in and ground pin. So these are the power pins of Node MCU. So why it has got so many pins, and what is this Node MCU board? Node MCU is popular developmental board. It is based on ESP8266 microcontroller. ESP8266 Node MCU board is user-friendly developmental board. So it is used to create IoT projects with Wi-Fi connectivity. This is the symbol of Wi-Fi. You can see. So to create IoT projects with Wi-Fi connectivity. Okay. Then the heart of the Node MCU board is ESP8266 Wi-Fi module. The ESP8266 is a low-cost Wi-Fi chip, and it is produced by Espressif System. It is a company based in China. It integrates 32-bit microcontroller with built-in Wi-Fi connectivity, and which makes it suitable for IoT applications. This is introduction of Node MCU. So as I said, it has got multiple power pins and ground pins. So having multiple ground and 3.3 pins, it enhances the robustness of the board, and having multiple power and ground pins means you can connect various components without requiring additional wires. So having multiple ground and 3.3 pins spread across the board makes it easier to connect multiple sensors, multiple modules, multiple components without the need for complicated wiring. And this Node MCU has got on the top you have got 3.3 volts and a ground, and here you have got ground and 3.3 volts. On the right side you have got 3.3 and a ground, and here also you have got V in and a ground. So why there are 3.3 volts pins and 3 ground pins, and why what is the use of this V in pin, I'll explain now. And also you see here there is 3.3 voltage regulator. This is the voltage regulator IC. 3.3 voltage regulator IC you have on the a developmental board. And what is the use of this 3.3 volts voltage regulator, and what is the use of V in, I'll explain in detail now. The V pin which is there at the bottom, yes, you can check here, V in and a ground. This V in pin on the Node MCU ESP8266 board is used to supply an external voltage to the power board. With the help of this V in pin, we can supply external voltage to the board. It provides an input to the onboard voltage regulator, that is 3.3 volts voltage regulator, just now I told, which regulates the voltage to the voltage to power the ESP8266 and other components on the board. And this V in pin allows you to power the Node MCU board with external power source rather than using micro USB port. Usually this board will get power from this micro USB board. Rather than this micro USB board, USB port, the Node MCU, with the help of VIN pin, it allows to power the board with external power source. That is the meaning of VIN. And this is useful when you need to power the board from different power supply, such as battery or external power adapter, etc. And the typical input voltage range supported by this VIN pin is 5 volts. And for few variants, it allows 7 volts to 12 volts. Depends on the specific version of the variant of the Node MCU board we use. Uh, when we uh, give external power supply to the VIN pin, the Node MCU board has onboard voltage regulator. Just now you saw on the here. The Node MCU board has an onboard voltage regulator that steps down the external input voltage to the required voltage level to power the ESP8266 and the other components which are connected to the board. The voltage regulator helps a stable and regulated voltage supply to the board regardless of the input voltage fluctuations. And when using VIN pin, make sure that the voltage you supply is within the allowable range to avoid the damaging the board. So applying voltage outside the recommended range could lead to permanent damage to the board. So for VIN pin maximum we can apply 5 volts. So if you apply more than that voltage, then it may cause damage to the board or it may cause damage to the connected components. And if you are using VIN pin to power the Node MCU board, be cautious about connecting it to a higher voltage sources and using power supply without proper voltage regulator. This is very important if you connect external power voltage. If you power the board via micro USB port, this is your micro USB port. If you power the board via micro USB port, the VIN pin is effectively bypassed. So it is not considered. And the board will be powered directly from the USB port. So the board will be powered from this USB source. So in that case, VIN is not considered. On the other hand, when you use an external power source through the VIN pin, then micro USB power is disconnected. Either one is taken. If you connect voltage to the VIN pin, so the board will get supply from the VIN using the voltage regulator, 3.3 volts voltage regulator. If you are not using VIN pin, if you are using the micro USB port, then the board gets power from the micro USB power and the VIN pin is not considered. So I can say the VIN pin on the Node MCU ESP8266 board is useful feature that allows you to power the board using external power supply. And the board can be powered via micro USB port that I already explained, and or through an external power source connected to the VIN pin. So this is all about the power pins of ESP8266 Node MCU board. So total we have 3 numbers of 3.3 volts pin and 3 grounds for that, and 1 VIN pin, and for that there is 1 ground pin. So you can check here. So this is all about power pins of Node MCU.